my fellow video game lovers. I cannot believe it's been another year. This year saw the releases of some pretty amazing games, and of course the Switch came out this year too. I think I played more games this year than I have in any previous years. But my list will always be eclectic, because my tastes are eclectic, and it's just who I am. Anyways, without further ado, let's get to my list. So coming in at number 10, we have Steven Universe Save the Light. Steven Universe Save the Light. This game is absolutely beautiful, and if you love the cartoon, you're really bound to enjoy the game. It's a really rather simple turn-based RPG with a story that lends itself very much to the same brand of storytelling and humor of the original show, with the music and timing and the mechanics, and the timing mechanics that seem to really accurate to the universe they belong in. Personally, I really enjoyed this game and the story it tells, following our main cast from the show in a whirlwind adventure. However, when it comes to the very bottom of my list, because while I do personally really enjoy it, it had a lot of launch bugs, and in general the story is simplistic. If you don't already love Steven Universe, it's probably not going to be something to convince you to fall in love with Steven Universe. It was built kind of in the way that it was made for people who already love it. But that's all I really have to say about it, so let's move right along to my number 9. Coming in at number 9 is Splatoon 2. Something that really draws me into this game is the art direction. I loved Splatoon's art direction in the original game the moment I saw it, and this remains to be true in the second game with some improved upon points. It has a longer and more in-depth story, and even more lovable little inklings to just gush over. They didn't change that much from the first game though, which has its positives and negatives. And they didn't really need to change that much because the first Splatoon game was already tons of fun. It's also on a more living console, which makes it even better. But it also makes this game feel a little bit less like a legitimate sequel and a little more like an extended DLC of the first game. Overall, the aesthetic and story and added characters still make this game a super hard win in my opinion, which is why it still landed at number 9 on my list. Coming into number 8 on my list is the newest installment in the Persona series, Persona 5. You might be surprised to see this game so low on my list, and admittedly, probably from a technical standpoint, it deserves to be higher. But this is my personal top 10 list, and this game is beautiful. But let's real talk for a minute here. Most of the games on this list have phenomenal art direction, so sue me. I play video games because they're flipping gorgeous. I'm an artist, what can I say? Persona 5 keeps its signature blend of RPG dungeon elements and visual novel segments. I love it, and it really shows its anime influences, but damn is this game long. I really love almost everything about this game, but I do find that its length can be a bit of a downside. It's a bit of a daunting task, and I'm incredibly busy, and sometimes the length of games can be very tedious. Number 7 on my list is Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator. God, what would my list even be if it didn't have some weird ones on it? Like, come on, Dream Daddy is amazing. The art has amazing character design, the environmental direction is gorgeous, I love the little mini games within the dates. The main thing that makes this game not even higher on my personal list is that each dad you only get to spend 3 dates with them. I wish I could have spent more time to actually get to know these characters a little better. I overall love this game, and its starring moment come from its very real feeling story and connection with its amazing characters, and the way the protagonist connects with his soon-to-be leaving to college teenage daughter. I feel like as a girl who left for college in recent enough memory, it really touched me to watch this happen. This is amazing writing, and tearjerkerness of this game is what really brought it into my top 10 list this year. My number 6 game is a little game that may not seem like much when you're browsing the web, but boy is it just downright nifty. Coming in at number 6, we have Niche, a super indie, super interesting computer game about surviving evolution. It released in early access last year, and my roommate and I started playing the hell out of it and anticipated its actual release hard. We were not disappointed. It came with an interesting story, so many different advantageous and disadvantageous ways for your critters to evolve and attempt to escape the clutches of extinction. This game isn't the prettiest, but it had a decent simple graphics, and the main thing I enjoy about it is the simulation, sense of danger, and realism the game presents. Overall, I really enjoy it. It feels like a full, complete experience and deserved a relatively noble spot on my top 10 list. The Switch released with a bang this year, and the first game to come out alongside it was the brand new Zelda Breath of the Wild. So coming in at my number 5 best game of 2017, let me preface this with I've never actually been a huge fan of Zelda. Despite always owning Nintendo consoles and playing many of their games for years and years, somehow Zelda always eluded me into not playing it for one reason or another. But not this year. I have gotten to play Breath of the Wild, and oh my god is it gorgeous. It is fun, it's the whole package. Despite that, it doesn't call to my personal game sensibilities. It is one hell of a game, and this game is still similar to other Zelda games that need to defeat enemies, solve puzzles, and it uses the Switch's new innovative technology to solve those puzzles. And it generally does just a fantastic job at nearly everything that it sets out to do, but most of why it's low on my personal list is just straight up preferences. Coming in at number 4 is Hiveswapped Act 1. If you've been following me for any number of time here at TGA, you'll know that I've been on the Hiveswap hype train for literal years. And boy, did that not slow down when the release finally happened. I waited endlessly to finally get the chance to play this game, and boy was I rewarded. The art direction is phenomenal. Everything about the rich world the game exists in feels like it belongs and has some truly amazing color and art direction. The story is exactly as fun and well written as I hoped it would be. I fell in love with the all new characters instantly. This game is truly everything I could have hoped for out of a Homestuck game. I think the one part about this game that leaves me aching is that there's only the first part of the game. And boy is the first part of the game so short. I wish I had more time with these characters. I wish the story had lasted a little longer. The second act is slated to come out this coming spring, but boy do I wish that they had released the whole game at once. I love Homestuck, and Hiveswap still has my immediate attention, but Homestuck is one of the longest comics in history, and Hiveswap, I wanted more out of it in that regard. I still believe everyone should play it, and all the story and minigames and bits of game mechanics that you do get are well worth it. But I think it's probably okay to wait to play the game until all the parts are out. So my number 3 for this year, we're finally getting into the thick of it. Coming in as my 3rd favorite game of 2017 is Cuphead. So I was excited about this game for a while before it actually came out, and oh my god did it not disappoint. This is probably one of the most exciting things to come out of video games in ages. The art direction is so on point. It harnesses the rubber hose animation style that makes every effort to remain true to the 1920s animation and art style, while still bringing it into the modern times. This is the ultimate boss rush game. It was designed to be difficult, and boy is it difficult and unforgiving. You oftentimes die and have to spend hours redoing the same boss over and over again. But when you finally beat it, it makes that victory all the sweeter. I love this game for many reasons. It's a complete experience of a game in a humble package that packs a wallop. It allows 2-player co-op, you can have a blast playing beside friends and family, and it proves that not all video games that are good need to be huge AAA title releases. Cuphead is wholesome, worthwhile game with an authentic difficulty and a fascinating visual world and style. I don't really have any negative things to say about this game, unless you count that it's really hard as a negative thing. Also, I tend to be pretty bad at most video games, and Cuphead is not an exception. So I know that it will just always be very difficult for me. So my number 2 game of the year was Night in the Woods. This game is an indie title that came out of nowhere. No one knew much about the creators or anything, but boy did it surprise people. The protagonist is very relatable and likable, and her cast of lovable delinquent friends really make it feel authentic and appropriate. Night in the Woods is for anyone who goes back to their hometown and things feel different, because once you're an adult and you go back home, things really do feel different. It's for anyone who goes to school and then is forced to drop out for various reasons. I really connect with and care about the nostalgia that the game invokes. It truly makes you feel things. The story is moving and emotional, and while still remaining badass with its supernatural elements. But overall, it's still a pretty down-to-earth game. Another very applicable point is that the visuals are on point. Night in the Woods is highly aesthetic. Everything about the color, character design, and backdrop is gorgeous. It also has super fun and beautiful soundtrack that lend it to even further tones in the game is trying to push forward. Honestly, I think the real reason that Night in the Woods is scored so high for me is just it really makes me feel connected to it, and I love that. And with that said, let's move on to my top pick of 2017. My number one game of 2017 is Divinity Original Sin 2. Where do I even begin with this game? It's amazing. The main thing I really enjoy about it is how freeform the world is and how controllable the story is. You can do just about anything in this game, and it really makes it enjoyable. You can use the environment and do so many things. It's an RPG following you as the main character. The narrator with the fully voice-acted cast is amazing. There's some really great humor, so much adventure to explore. You almost want to do every little bit of content the game has to offer simply because it all seems worth it. Nothing is too easy, but if you wander into something that's too hard, it's easy to regroup and find a different strategy to go about and fight in. The combat is turn-based, and the story really makes you think about your actions and how you want it to progress. I dumped a bunch of hours into this game this year, and it was worth every bit of time I spent on it. I won't say Divinity Original Sin 2 is perfect. There are some bugs, but if you can look past those bugs, it's really a gem, and it's well worth your time to get through the campaign. It's my number one this year because I enjoyed playing it more than anything else this year. It makes you feel connected with the people you're playing with, and it has an amazing story to tell. With that, until next time, this has been Tori here with my top 10 games of 2017. I hope you have a splendid holidays and a marvelous new year, and of course, a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Catch you next time.